This is the Triratna Dharma training course for Mitras. Compiled by Vedanya and produced by Sangaruchi. Music by Sarvadarshan. Hello, my name's Sangaruchi. This course is usually offered in Triratna Buddhist centres to small groups. I'm producing an audio version for anyone who can't get to a centre. Please listen to episode 1.1.0 as this gives an introduction. The course is narrated in text sessions, and in a subsequent question and answer session, I respond to anything people have sent me. Do send any questions. Year 1, Section 1, Week 9 of the Dharma training course for Mitras. 1.1.9 The Sangha as a Means of Development. Introduction. The Triratna Buddhist community has a strong tradition of emphasizing the crucial importance of the spiritual community, or Sangha. Experience shows that we need the Sangha to practice effectively. The people we mix with have a profound effect on us. We need the support and encouragement of like-minded people. We need advice and inspiration from people who are somewhat further along the path. And we need a social context of trust, honesty, and friendship if we are to open up and develop the emotional warmth that is an essential part of spiritual development. This crucial importance of the Sangha has always been recognized in Buddhism, and in these individualistic times, it is more important than ever. So the Sangha is important as a means to an end, the end being our own spiritual progress. But it is also important as an end in itself. For many people, the most attractive thing about being a Buddhist is the Sangha itself, and the ideal of helping to build a community of people who relate to each other on the basis of warmth, generosity, and openness can be one of the most inspiring aspects of the spiritual life. The text covered in the last two sessions of Part 1 of the course are meant to bring out these two aspects of Sangha. In the first, we look at a story from the Pali Canon that illustrates the need for a spiritual friendship as an essential part of our own development, and gives us a clear warning against spiritual individualism. In the last session, two modern Buddhists use some other characters from the Pali Canon to illustrate how the ideal of Sangha can be an inspiring goal in its own right. Sangha as a means to an end. The story of Meghiya. Text from the Udana, the Meghiya chapter, based on the translations of Woodward and Ireland. Thus I have heard, once the Buddha was staying at Karlika, on Karlika Hill. Now on that occasion, the Venerable Meghiya was in attendance on the Buddha. The Venerable Meghiya came to the Buddha, saluted him, stood at one side, and said to the Exalted One, "I desire, sir, to go to Janti village for alms food." "Do whatever you think it is time for, Meghiya." So the Venerable Meghiya, robing himself and taking his bowl and robe, went to Janti village in search of alms food, and after making his rounds and eating his meal, he went towards the bank of the river Kimikala, and on reaching it, while taking exercise by walking up and down, he saw a lovely, delightful mango grove. At the sight of it, he thought, "Truly lovely and delightful is this mango grove. Surely this would be a good place for a clansman to work on his meditation. If the Exalted One will give me leave, I would like to come here to this mango grove and practice meditation." So the Venerable Megir went to the Exalted One and sat down at one side, and told the Exalted One what he had thought, saying, "If the Exalted One will give me leave, I would like to go to that mango grove to practice meditation." At these words, the Exalted One said to the Venerable Megir, "Wait a little, Megir. I am alone until some other monk arrives." Then the second time the Venerable Megir said to the Exalted One, "Sir, the Exalted One has nothing more to do. He has nothing more to add to what has been done. But for me, sir, there is more yet to be done. There is more to be added to what I have done. If the Exalted One will give me leave, I would like to go to the mango grove to practice meditation." Then a second time the Exalted One replied, "Wait a little, Megir. I am alone until some other monk arrives." Then yet a third time the Venerable Megir made his request, and the Exalted One replied, "Well, Megir, what can I say when you talk of practicing meditation? Do what you think it is time for, Megir." So the Venerable Megir rose from his seat, saluted the Exalted One, and went to that mango grove, and on reaching it he plunged into it and sat down at the foot of a tree. But while Megir was staying in that mango grove, there habitually came upon him 3 unskilful forms of thought, namely, lustful thoughts, malicious thoughts, and harmful thoughts. Then the Venerable Megir thought, "This is certainly strange, this is certainly surprising, that I, who went forth from the home to the homeless life so full of faith, should be assailed by these unskilful forms of thought, namely, lustful thoughts, malicious thoughts, and harmful thoughts." So he left his solitude and went to the Exalted One and said, "Sir, while I was staying in the mango grove, there habitually came upon me 3 unskilful forms of thought. Then, sir, I thought, this is certainly strange. This is surprising that I should be assailed in this way." The Buddha replied, "Megir, when the heart's release is immature, 5 things lead to its maturity. What are these 5? Megir, a monk needs spiritual friends, good associates. He needs the companionship of good people. When the heart's release is immature, Megir, this is the first thing that leads to its maturity. Then again, Megir, a monk should be virtuous, keeping to his vows, practicing ethical behaviour, seeing danger even in small faults, training himself in the precepts. When the heart's release is immature, Megir, this is the second thing that leads to its maturity. Then again, Megir, a monk should be surrounded by talk that is serious and opens up the heart, that conduces to detachment, to dispassion, to calm, to understanding, to insight, to nibbana. That is to say, talk about having few wants, about contentment, about avoiding worldly company, about arousing energy. Talk about ethics, meditation, and wisdom. Talk about liberation, knowledge, and insight. When the heart's release is immature, Megir, this is the third thing that leads to its maturity. Then again, Megir, a monk needs to be firm and energetic in abandoning what is unskilful and acquiring what is skilful. He should be stout and strong in effort, not laying aside the burden of pursuing what is skilful. When the heart's release is immature, Megir, this is the fourth thing that leads to its maturity. Finally, Megir, a monk should have insight. He should be endowed with the penetrating insight that sees all things rise and fall, and leads to the end of suffering. When the heart's release is immature, Megir, this is the fifth thing that leads to its maturity. Now, Megir, a monk who has spiritual friendship can be expected to become virtuous. He will keep to his vows. He will practice ethical behaviour. He will see danger even in small faults. He will train himself in the precepts. Also, Megir, a monk who has spiritual friendship will be surrounded by talk that is serious, about meditation, insight, and liberation. And again, Megir, a monk who has spiritual friendship can be expected to be firm and energetic in abandoning what is unskillful and acquiring what is skillful. And finally, Megir, a monk who has spiritual friendship can be expected to develop the penetrating insight that leads to the end of suffering. Questions for reflection and discussion. 1. What can we deduce about Megir's character from this story? 2. Why do you think that Megir is plagued by unskillful thoughts when he is alone in the mango grove? 3. Why is he so surprised by this? Why didn't this happen when he was with the Buddha? 4. What is the connection between spiritual friendship and the other conditions that the Buddha says lead to the heart's release? You could draw a diagram of how these lead to each other. 5. Megir learned a valuable lesson from his bad meditations about how the conditions in which we live affect our meditation practice. How could we reorganize our lives to improve our meditation practice?